Hi, friends. My name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor of Cornerstone Church in Marshfield. I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. So, a question for you. How many of you love cleaning up messes? I thought so. Very few of you, right? Well, here's the thing. Some messes in life that we have to clean up are small. Maybe they're contained to a table after our kids get done eating breakfast in the morning, right? Some messes in life are bigger, right? Sometimes there is a natural disaster that goes through a region, and it leaves homes decimated. Whether it was a tornado or it was hurricanes or even think of the earthquake in Afghanistan. Just a huge, massive mess with so much cleanup to be done before anything can be rebuilt, right? And here's the thing, is messes don't just come in the form of things that need to be picked up physically, but messes can come in human relationship, right? And here's the thing about messes, whether they're small messes, big messes, whether they're messes that involve things that we have to pick up and clean up, or they're messes that involve people in which we have to have conversations and listening and talk kindly. It's important to have a plan when you clean up a mess. Typically, a mess is better cleaned up when there's some thought given to it ahead of time and how you're going to clean it up. Well, today, as we're in 2 Samuel chapter 3, David has begun his kingdom. He's going to be basically set on his throne. He's going to start his kingship. Remember, he was anointed to be the next king after Saul way back in 1 Samuel 16, 17, somewhere in there. I'll probably be wrong on one of those. But anyway, we're here in 2 Samuel 3. Saul is gone. Jonathan is gone. David is going to be assuming the throne and be the king of Israel. But things are going to get off to a messy start here in 2 Samuel 3. You see, there's this guy, his name is Abner, and he is still representing the house of Saul. And so it's seemingly Saul's house versus David's house. And yet Abner is wanting to convince that no, he's for David. He wants David to take the throne that God promised to him. And so he meets with David, and Abner says, hey, the throne is yours, man. The throne is yours. And he leaves the scene. And then there's Joab, who's already buddy-buddy with David. And Joab says, David, what are you doing meeting with Abner? He's just trying to figure out a way that he can catch you, a way that he can kill you and take your throne from you. And so what Joab does is he goes and he finds Abner, doesn't tell David, and he and his buddies, they end up killing Abner and thinking that this is what David would want. And so his kingdom is full of drama right as it begins. It's a mess. And what I want us to see today in just 9 verses, the very last part of 2 Samuel chapter 3, is I want us to see how David responds to a mess. All right? Abner has just died at the hands of Joab. Joab is one of the closest people to David, and yet it's not what David wanted. There's a mess on his hands. There's a mess as his kingdom begins. And we start our time in verse 31 of 2 Samuel 3, and here's David's response to this mess that's on his hands. Here's what it says. Then David said to Joab, the guy who killed Abner, and to all the people who were with him, tear your clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn before Abner. And King David followed the bier. They buried Abner of Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice, and he wept all at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. And the king lamented for Abner, saying, should Abner die as a fool dies? Your hands were not bound, your feet were not fettered, as one falls before the wicked. You have fallen. And all the people wept again over him. Then all the people came to persuade David to eat bread while it was yet day. But David swore, saying, God, do so to me, and more also, if I taste bread or anything else till the sun goes down. And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as everything that the king did pleased all the people. So all the people in all Israel understood that day that it had not been the king's will, not David's will, to put to death Abner the son of Ner. And the king said to his servants, do you not know that a prince and a great man has fallen this day in Israel? These men, the sons of Zeruiah, are more severe than I. The Lord, he says, the Lord repay the evildoer according to his wickedness. In other words, vengeance is the Lord's. Friends, if you were to summarize David's response to this messy situation that his kingdom begins with, what one word would you use to summarize his response? Say it right now. All right, good job. Here's my word. He responds with humility. Humility. Did you notice right away in verse 31, he instructs everybody, and including himself, tear your clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourn before Abner. He's basically saying, I don't care if you're against Abner or you're for Abner, we're all mourning that this guy has died, and he's died at the hands of murderous people. And then on top of that, later on, the people are saying, David, you must eat, you must take something, you must eat something, you haven't eaten all day. And David, again, in humility, says, no, far be it from me. I will not eat until the sun sets. I am going to have a humble response to this mess, to this tragedy. And then again, at the very end, while David, yes, is king, and he could have those men who killed Abner put to death. He could order anything he wanted. He could have vengeance for himself. What does he do? He says, the Lord repay the evildoers according to his wickedness. He humbly says that vengeance is the Lord's. He doesn't put himself in the place of God. Rather, he lets God deal with the people. And he doesn't put himself there to take revenge on those who took Abner's life. See, David has a humble response in the face of a mess. And friends, how often when we're faced with the messes of life, generally not the ones that happen on the kitchen table, and not even the big ones that might happen from a natural disaster, but the people messes, how often do we try to fix those on our own? How often do we just try to put pen to paper and say, this is what we have to do to fix this problem and clean up this mess? I love David's response. By example and by word, he shows his people and he shows God, I'm going to humble myself before a holy God, and I am going to trust him to do what only he can do. Friends, may I encourage you today and challenge you as I do myself to humble yourself as well before God when you have that mess before you, and trust him to clean it up. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.